been a while. So the last time I did a YouTube video was before I even started prep. And in that video, I said that I would document the whole thing. And I've become extremely busy and not done that. However, we're now sat at just around 7-8 weeks out from show number 1. And I will try and document the next 14 weeks as best as I can, because that is the last show, 14 weeks time. But just as a little update, I think it's been about 10 weeks now I've been on prep. In that time we've taken off the best part of 10 kilo, I believe. Cardio was pulled about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago. We don't want to kill the legs off, we don't want to create too much fatigue. We want to keep training in good spots, so that's why. Food is probably quite low, to be fair. For me anyway, it's down into the 2s, which makes me very sad. I am now sat here with one of my biggest meals of the day, my pre-workout cock. Please make sure you go and follow my Instagram to get some context behind that, because if you don't, you're going to think I'm a little bit weird. But yeah, I'm not going to explain it. You have to just go and look at it on my Instagram. So I shall tag it down below. But yeah, I would have put some posing up beforehand, before this morning. That was just my normal fasted rounds that I do. Posing's in a good spot. I've never really struggled with that anyway. However, I do need to make a routine. Other than that, when I say it's been a busy couple of months, so I've had a client step on stage, my first ever client. I will put some pictures on the screen now. Ashley, who did incredibly well at her first show. It was the biggest first timers of the year. I think it had 400 competitors there at PCA. And her class had 11 in, which was a pretty high standard of bikini athletes actually, especially for the masters. So it was a strong lineup, and she managed to get 3rd, which I was absolutely over the moon about. Everything went to plan peak week wise, and now we're heading towards our next show. I also have Lauren competing at that show. So I'll try and I do actually want to record that and put that on YouTube. I thought it'd be cool to just display that side of my life as well. But yeah, moving on. In terms of today, I have a push session which I'm going to record, and then the rest of the day is just a normal working day for me. I shall take you through that session. Any more I decide to update you on, I will probably update you on in the car. Right, we're now on the way to the gym. It's always nice when the car starts. I don't know if I've locked the door. I do this every single day. Right, I did lock the door. Like I said, that happens every single day. Prep brain is well and truly with us. But yeah, so I'm on the way to the gym now. It is usually a 30-second drive for me. However, there are some lovely traffic lights ahead of me right now, which is new, and there's a road closed just there, which means I need to take a 10-minute detour, which is sound really, isn't it? But yeah, I'm very much of the opinion of get in and get on with it when it comes to training on prep. So I'm not gonna be speaking to the camera. What I'll do is I'll just record the whole session. This is taking the piss. Why is there's obviously no one there? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the session, and then I'll probably do a voiceover or something like that, just to make sure. Surely this isn't right. I've been sat here for way too long now. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I'm going to record the session. Whoa, that's a big bump. And then probably do a voiceover. And just do a little walkthrough of what a push session looks like for me. What the fuck? This is ridiculous. I literally just drove over a cone. But there's no other choice. And now there's a dickhead coming towards me. That can't be right. Whoa! So yeah, I'm gonna drink my pre now. Just so you know. I'm gonna drink my pre now on the way to the gym. And then you'll see me once I'm in there. Right, so I'm going to be using my laptop's shoddy mic here, so if the sound quality is awful, I do apologise. But anyway, going through this push session, the first thing that I have started doing at the moment is just getting a bit of blood flow into my arms. So I do biceps on my push day. For me, you just get so much more out of doing biceps on a push day and triceps on a pull day. They're fresher, so going into them is just going to be a lot better. And you're going to get more of a stimulus, especially doing the starter session at the moment. I just feel like I can get more of a stimulus, a better contraction, and in the movements just a little bit better. Let's say. But I usually start on laterals, but this was currently free, so I thought I might as well jump and do a bit of biceps at the start. Then you'll see that we jump into the crucifix laterals. So here, what am I doing? So I'm thinking about keeping my chest as high as I possibly can throughout, and then almost using my delts to wrap round my shoulder joint and imagining that. And then instead of just moving the weight up and out or down to the floor as I see people do, I'm thinking about actively driving my elbow out to the side of me, using my delt to do that. You'll see as I come down, I'm keeping my hands in that kind of line on the way down. I'm not letting the weight take it away from me at all. The whole rep's controlled. And at the bottom, I'm just pausing, making sure I've got tension on the lateral delt, and then I'm driving through. Always to failure, a few partials at the end, just to get a bit more blood flow in there. And then what do we move on? We move on to the Atlantis press. Now this is one of the best presses around, I think, but I see so many people do it wrong. If you hold it super wide, you're just going to get so much more kind of leverage from the actual machine. You're not actually using your muscles there. So I like to take a close grip, and I really think about getting my chest as high as possible and keeping it there. And then I'm kind of bringing it down, keeping my chest high, getting as much depth as I possibly can comfortably. And then the chest always moves first. So you think about contracting the chest as you come through, bringing those biceps together, and then soft lock out at the top. The reason I do this is because the machine gets a lot heavier at that top range. So if you're going to spend any time in any position here, you spend it in the lengthened, and then just a little soft lock out in the shortened. Just keep the tension on the muscle throughout. But yeah, also with a short grip, you'll notice that you get a bit more of a squeeze at the top. This doesn't converge that much, so you do want to kind of make the most out of that. But yeah, like I said, this is a great press. So my back offset here, again, just making sure we keep all the reps standardized, keep them the same. At this point in prep, no silly reps, so I'm not taking any kind of like 50-50s because it's just going to take away from the rest of the session, as I literally take a 50-50 rep there. Moving on to the next press, it is a cable press. So with this one, I did initially have a barbell Smith machine pressing, but I'm just not a fan of pressing with a barbell. I like having my wrist neutral. I like to be able to kind of move my wrist through the movement, so a barbell just doesn't work for me. This, on the other hand, is perfect. I've got a nice stable setup. My upper back is planted into that back pad. I've got a nice arch in my back. I'm keeping my pecs forward, and it's converging at the end, so I'm getting a good squeeze. This is from the other side. You should be able to actually see my chest working here. And when you look back at your own videos, you should always be able to see the muscle that you're using contracting. That is a literal sign that you're connecting well with a movement, and those are the movements you're going to grow from.
Obviously, if you're doing shit like RDLs or kind of hack squats, you're not going to see it as much. But when it comes to kind of upper body training, you do want to see that muscle active and that muscle moving. But yeah, this is about halfway through the session. At this point in prep, I am starting to feel pretty knackered, to be honest. This was a week ago now, so my training since then has got a little bit, not worse, but I've just been flagging a lot earlier in the session. So those 50-50 reps have been very much taken out at this point. Then we move on to the Nautilus fly. This is one movement that is very, very hard to get right just because of the plane of movement with it. All you want to think about is driving your elbows back and then keeping your chest in front of your delts as you come through into the contraction. The minute your delts come in front of your chest, you have literally switched the movement onto them and not your chest. You start kind of flying with your front delts. Let that chest lead the whole time. You'll see as well here that I'm kind of leaning forward into the stretch and then holding that length forward position. It comes up at such a steep angle that you need to lean forward to be able to basically line up with the pec fibers here. So it is really important you hold that position throughout. A lot of the time you see people sat dead straight up against the pad, and then as it's coming up, they're like internally rotating, their traps getting all bunched up, and that is super uncomfortable. And going into the rest of the session, you'll kind of notice you've got a bit of trap pain going on, which is not ideal. We then move on to laterals. So this, I don't know how many I've filmed here, but I do like a bit of a giant set / drop set. With laterals, it's not too taxing, so you can actually get away with this in prep. But we're not being silly with it. Each rep is controlled. Same as the crucifix, I'm not thinking about kind of swinging the weight up. I'm thinking about leading with the elbow, keeping the elbow above my wrist, and just using the delt to actually take it into that plane of movement. Always keep the dumbbells in front of you. I see so many people just come right up to the side where if you're doing that, you're getting more trapped, to be honest. You're going to be getting a little bit back as well. So then we move on to a superset, giant set, whatever it is, for biceps. Just a nice finisher here. So we start with spider curls, which replicates like a preacher. So we're biasing it in the shortened position here. The reason we do this first is because it is harder to get into this shortened position at this point of the session where the body is a little bit fatigued. So we want to start with that, and then in a second we move on to incline curls, which is obviously where we're a little bit stronger. We're biasing the bicep in the lengthened position. Here you can see that I've got the seat quite far back and I've got my elbows behind me. Instead of just curling the weight up, I'm thinking about keeping my elbows fixed in that position, and I'm just bringing my pinkies up to my armpits. In that lengthened position as well at the bottom, I always tell people to tense their tricep. Same here with hammer curls. If you want to fully lengthen the bicep, then tense the tricep at the bottom. That's where you're going to get that full lengthened position. But again, we're on to like the easiest bicep curl here. If you're doing hammer curls at the start of your session, you are quite clearly very silly, because all you're going to do is injure your elbow, because you have to go really, really heavy to get the stimulus you need. We then move on to the post-workout posing rounds. I am a pasty white boy. I know you don't need to tell me. Seriously need to get out in the sun. But we have some daily goals we need to tick off at the moment, which does not allow me the time. So, yeah, this is how I'm looking post-workout. You obviously saw the fasted shots in the morning, so not too different here. We're now a week into the future when I'm recording this, so we have tightened up since then, and we'll continue to tighten up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got to this point in the video, then I congratulate you. Hopefully I'm not too boring, and I'll see you in the next video.